Ooh, I need that. Ooh, I need that. Ooh, that. Oh, definitely I need that. All right, that one too. All right. Ooh, we're gonna get a lot of car parts. Mom's here. Wait. Babe. I need car parts. Money, please.
Okay, but don't waste it all.
Going on YouTube. So I'm gonna take a break from that because my wife's car broke down. It's having some problems. The ignition cylinder isn't turning, which I guess is apparently very common on these Volkswagens. She has a Volkswagen GTI. Yeah, so we're probably gonna have to take a break from that real quick. I'm gonna rip this whole thing apart. It's been having a few issues, so I've been just kind of doing the it fixes itself situation, you know. Once it stopped messing up, then it's all right. But eventually, it goes down, and now you got to fix it. So the issue with this guy right here is gonna be the ignition cylinder is jammed, which I looked into it, and apparently it's common, and you got to basically replace it. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to order the parts today. Hopefully by Saturday they come in. But also it needs a main switch for this door. And the... what the heck is it called? I just looked it up. But it's basically the switch that shuts the flap for the vent. It's broken, so every time you turn it on, it wants to recirculate. It's called a recirculating actuator, and that piece, what it does is basically every time you turn it on, it opens and closes a flap which controls the vents and the circulation of the air inside the car. So right now it's not working good, so it basically is stripping. So every time you turn it on, you hear and it's kind of annoying. So I'm gonna order all that stuff too and start pulling everything apart, so that way by Saturday, once the parts get here, I can start replacing all that. So hopefully that's gonna be fun. But yeah, this is basically what it is. It's a 2.0 turbo GTI automatic with the DSG transmission. Pretty clean. Small for me, but she loves it, so it's her car, you know. But yeah, we're gonna get in here and pull this guy out. We're gonna pull that thing out because what it's doing basically is stick the key in, and it turns to there, and it won't turn no more. You get kind of like just the radio. You can't even lower the windows. It doesn't turn enough to even get the windows going, but that's basically it. It turns to where it'll unlock the steering wheel, but that's about it. So you got to pull the steering wheel, airbag, everything off here, get the new cylinder, put it back, then it should be able to do it. The thing that I was looking into is what happens is the cylinder lock that actuates where when the steering wheel locks in place, the little switch that it basically pins that lock in, the spring ends up breaking or something like that to where it doesn't release no more. So you turn it and it just stays up, so it won't pull down and release the cylinder. So at this point we got to basically pull this off. I'm gonna save the ignition switch, which is what is paired to the key. So I'm basically just gonna pull this off the actual whole cylinder assembly and put it on the new one, and so that way I can use the same key instead of having to get a new key, which then makes it a big deal to where the key doesn't work for the doors. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. First thing we got to do is disconnect the battery. So let's go do that. We're about to get under the hood. And now the strut that holds the hood doesn't hold the hood anymore. So I'm probably gonna just order that. You know, might as well get all that stuff in to get it replaced. So now I gotta find a stick to prop this open while I disconnect the battery, which is right here. Yeah, cold air intake right there. But yeah, more fun, guys. You know, like I said, once something goes out, you kind of might as well just start looking and trying to get as much as the other stuff is, because you can only wait so long before the whole car just breaks down. So let's get something to prop this open. Alrighty, got this little rod in here. Make sure whenever you prop something open like this, you want to make sure it's actually really sturdy, because the last thing you need is to be under here, and then this thing just goes bah, because it doesn't seem heavy once it's on the hinges. It got the little support, but that thing comes down full force. If your hand's there or something, you guarantee that thing's probably going to be broken. So try to be safe. Wherever you prop something, make sure it's in there good, so you don't want to hurt yourself. All right, first rule of thumb, be smart. You don't want to get hurt, because it ain't worth it at the end. So, you know, always, you know, don't try this at home, but it is what it is. So let's get this going. So first, you want to pull the cap off, expose your battery. You know, it's right there. You got positive. You can see that. You got negative. This is we're gonna disconnect. Alrighty. Alrighty, guys. You're gonna need a 10 millimeter. See if you can see that. No. Alrighty. You want to make sure you're taking it off. Just lefty loosey. Ready tighty, alright? You don't want to go, especially with these things, they're very soft, so you really don't want to go end up tightening it, because it'll strip right away. So once you get that off, you want to kind of tuck it to where it won't jump on that again. So, you know, if you got a cover or something, you know, kind of cover it up, so you don't want that shit to, you don't want that to come on there. Alrighty, so there's that. We're gonna get ready to go inside. We got to pull all kinds of stuff off and have super duper fun. So, alright, so we're in here, and so what we're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to remove this cover, and then remove this cover. We're gonna have to kind of get in here, pop the steering wheel off, airbag, all that stuff. So first thing is we're gonna want to kind of pry open this. Let me see if I can get something better. Sorry about that, guys. My phone just restarted out of nowhere. But yeah, so you get that panel off, it exposes that. So now we want to loosen this screw right here, and I believe it's going to be a Torx head, Torx T20 Torx. So we're going to want to pop that one off, and I believe there's another one, another one on this side, which will drop this. The only thing I got to try to figure out is how to remove, or no, it'll come off. Yeah, I was thinking this was all connected, but no, this is separate. I was like, oh man, how am I gonna get that out of there? But no, you're good. So yeah, once you pop those two off, and there's one down here also, one right there. You get those three, and this whole panel, that whole panel should come off. So let's get to it. So it's gonna be 1, 2 on the other side, and you want to have your key in there to where it'll loosen up that, right? So that way you'll be able to turn your steering wheel so you can get to that one, and then straighten it out, and then you'll get this whole thing off. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll pop it back on, okay? Alrighty, I got those screws off. So now I'm guessing we're gonna have to want to remove the key, and then we're going to pop this down. Well, might have to remove this. I'm going to see right now. But yeah, we're going to want to finesse it a little bit. So yeah, we're going to want to take this off also. And as you can see, it has a couple of screws in there too. I believe they're also 220s. So let's get that thing off. There's a compressor went off. But there, let's get these two off, and then we can slip this off, and hopefully that'll give us the play we need to remove that whole piece. So we'll look at it. Give me a second. All right, so the two that were in here were T30 Torx. So then we'll just pop that down, and then it'll slide off. It's just two that were in there. Toss that there. You can see the two holes that are right here. So then from there, this should generally kind of, you gotta finesse it a little bit, but it should essentially just come off. There you go. Falls off, but you know, that's basically all it is. Probably didn't need to take it off. Now that I look at it, I thought it was locked right there, but yeah, it'll slide off. But if you take it off, in a sense, it might be a little easier to mess with. So now we must remove the steering wheel. So the key goes back in, pop the lock, and we got to remove the steering wheel. So there's a little thing right here. The screwdriver's got to pop it off, so I'm gonna remove this piece, kind of loosen up everything here around this to be able to get in here. Put this over here. I'm gonna pop this piece off. So gotta see how to get that off. But yeah, so we gotta remove this and this. To get to the back here, there's okay. So I think that little Torx right there is gonna be one. There's one on the other side. So we're gonna pop this piece off and then take a look. Alrighty, so I'm gonna mess with this, get some of these things off, and then I'll check back in. Alright. Alrighty guys, back here I took some of this stuff off. So you gotta take the airbag off, and the tricky thing to do that is let's see if I can get some light. Alright, so there's this hook here, and another one on the other side. So you kinda gotta get in the back of it with a flat blade screwdriver. You can kinda see the holes right in here. And you gotta kind of like move the steering wheel around to like get a good angle. You basically are catching this pin and you're trying to push it out so it could slip out of that notch right there. So you want to basically get like a flat blade screwdriver or something, kind of push this inwards so it can unhook from there. On both sides, it's kind of tricky. You gotta kind of, once you get one side, the other one comes out fairly easy. But that's this airbag. Now I gotta disconnect it. So then you're going to disconnect the two cables. On this one has two cables. One's I think for the horn, the airbag. But just pop those off and put that to the side. Alrighty, next we have to pull this screw out, but you want to kind of line up the steering wheel straight and then kind of try to mark it so it can go back in straight. Alrighty, yeah, after that we take this off, steering wheel comes off, then we're going to take off these switches and start disassembling everything else around here. Take off this, and then start removing this control box right here, and then we should get access to the switch, right? So let me do that and then I'll come back. Alright, now when you're moving the bolt here, you know, I obviously used a ratchet, and then what you need to have is a 12-point M12. Let's see where it's at. Let's see, where is it? Right there. You need to have an M12 12-point, one of these. Not specifically like this, but this is basically what you're going to need to take that out. Not a T55. Alright, it's very different. Alright, so once you remove this bolt, it's not too tight on there, so you can hold the steering wheel with your knees while you break it loose. But one thing to notice is going to be this mark right here. This mark you see right here. Pay attention to that really good, because that's already marked to how the steering wheel is lined up. So if your top hash is a little bit left or a little bit right to that mark on the spline there, make sure when you put it back, put it exactly the same way back. Alright? Pay attention to that very carefully. Like this one, you can see it's a little bit to the left. Alright? But yeah, so once that's there, you can slide the steering wheel off and your steering wheel's removed. And those are those little notches that I was talking about earlier when you remove the airbag. See, they have the little hooks. But yeah. Alright, set that to the side. Alright, now what's next is going to remove these little screws, these little Torx screws right here on both sides, I believe. And then we'll be able to pop this off. Alright. So, I'll hold this down, lock it in place. Alright, so there's that. Alright, I'm going to get to removing some of this stuff off, and then I'll tell you how it goes. Alrighty. Alrighty, to take this piece off, kind of tricky, because if you could see, it has this tab right here, and this tab back here. You know, obviously it's hard to see in there because it's pushed up against it. You kind of got to try to get like a pick from this side and try to push that in, pull that down, and then from the back edge you want to try to find it and kind of push that in to bring it down. It is tricky, so be careful you don't want to break it, obviously, because then that means you got to buy another one. But yeah, so that's how you pull that piece off. After we pull this piece off, we can take this, I believe we could take this off. Yeah, I'm going to remove this piece. And then remove this next, then these. And then we should have access to the cylinder, which you could see already from here. Alrighty. Give me 1 second and I'll get back to it. Alrighty, to remove this piece, you have to pop these little tabs, this one here and then this one here. You kind of got to like lift them up and pry it out a little bit. Be careful you don't want to break them, and this should essentially just slide out. Alright, you can set that to the side. Next is this part where we essentially got to slide a flat blade in here, something flat, because there's a little hook, a pin that kind of like holds it, latches it, and then from there we must pry it from right here on this side. I believe it's here. Yeah, we pry that piece. You can see it right there. You can see it holding right there. And then same on this side, but this time this one will be right here. You'll pry that out, and same, you'll stick a blade in there. So I'll go ahead and do that because I don't have anything to hold the camera up. I'll pop. All right, so once you get that off, you slide a flat, like a butter knife or something flat enough in there, and then you pull that pin over here. This will slide out. This will slide out like that. You can see where it grooves up. Set that there. Here's that piece where the flat piece of metal is going to be pushing in. You can see it pushes that in, and that way, this is that other piece that you push out. So we'll do the same on this side. You basically slide that in. Slide that in. And basically have that in there. And then you pop this piece out. So I'm gonna put this down because I've got no tripod. So, alright, so once I pull that out, then this slides out. I can pull this, and this slides out. So it slides out. Put that aside. Now you have it exposed. So here is going to be the tricky part because you have some security bolts that are in there. From the top you could see them. See if you guys can see them. See right there, that's a security bolt. Same over here. So we got to try to get those out. Alright. So what I've been seeing to get those out, you kind of got to like punch them out in a way, like kind of hit them in an angle so that they could start spinning, and then once they get loose enough, they'll start spinning on their own. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'll check back in once that's done. Alrighty, so I loosened those security bolts, but on this side is not too hard. You kind of got a spot where you could reach in there. As soon as you like break them loose, they start spinning by themselves. So that one's already loosened up. This one, unfortunately, because of the angle, I had to drill a hole through there. I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but I ended up having to drill a hole through there so I can get an angle to knock it loose. From this angle, I couldn't get it. Maybe if you guys have like more substantial, more tools, I guess, you'd be able to probably get it without having to do this. But you could put a hole right here. I just did it big enough to where I didn't really mess with anything else that was in there. So but that's loose now, so I'm just gonna unscrew them because like you could see it, like once you break them loose, like I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but see, they'll just spin. If you can see that, see it spinning. Yeah, once you spin those out, then this thing cylinder will drop. You unhook this, and back here, this right here, and that should be out. So that way you'll be able to replace it with a new one. Alrighty, so give me a second and I'll get that out. Once those screws are out, then the next thing you do is you disconnect this, disconnect back here, disconnect this guy, and then under here there's a pin or a little clip. Push in and this will drop down. As you can see, it dropped all the way down. So this is what you got left. Now you basically pull all this stuff that this has and you replace it to the new one, to there. You got to get all that onto this guy, which is that one. Alrighty, but that's about it. And then to put back, you just repeat everything that was done. Try to remember it. Alrighty, thank you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it.